Check.
Five, four, three, two, one, zero.
Check. Check. Hello. Welcome in, everybody. Today is February 9th, 10:17 a.m. here in Texas time. I appreciate you guys coming in today. I wasn't going to do an episode today. I've been wanting to do an episode this week. I just wasn't going to do it today. However, in light of some news that's been going on, I feel like we should come up here and talk about it. There's been a lot that's going on this week. First, let me just say thank you for coming in. Make sure you hit that like button for me. If you're listening to the show, that means you missed us live. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch to catch us when we're live so you can come in and be part of the conversations. I didn't give a big heads up about today's episode. I literally posted, hey, I'm going live, and then I went live like 3 minutes later. So I'm expecting the live audience to trickle in maybe 10 minutes in. So we'll see what happens. I could just be solo this whole time today. I don't have a guest with me today. It's going to be a solo show today. Let's just jump in. First off, by now, you've probably heard about the whole Joe Rogan situation. I don't necessarily want to focus on that. I'm just going to bring it up, the elephant in the room. The Joe Rogan podcast. So if you don't know who Joe Rogan is, he was the guy on Fear Factor. He's a UFC commentator. fighting commentator, like live fighting commentator. He has the world's largest and most popular and successful podcast ever. It's not even close. And some videos resurfaced of him saying some things a long time ago, but he apologized and all this other stuff. And now they've been trying to cancel him on and off. It's just another thing they're trying to cancel him for. It's a political hit. It's probably not going to stick. Okay. But now they're talking about more censorship and things like that. And Spotify, thank you, Spotify, for not censoring. And Spotify came out and said, the CEO said, I think it was the CEO said it, we're not going to censor because if you start to censor, it's a slippery slope. And just kudos to Spotify for sticking to the guns, really supporting free speech, true patriots. We'll probably get into that as well because there's a lot of stuff I want to say about that. But I want to specifically talk about two things today. We're going to talk about this Minneapolis shooting between a cop and a 22-year-old, who the 22-year-old did 0 things wrong. And then also, let's talk about things that we're not supposed to talk about, such as religion and politics. So let's hop onto it. So I actually saw this video a handful of days ago. Somebody sent it to me, and I was kind of confused on what happened. In the video that I saw, I'm gonna tell you the video that I saw was cops. I guess they were SWAT or wannabe SWAT. They're probably SWAT. By the way, this might come off the next handful of minutes. What I'm saying is going to come off like I'm anti-cop. I'm not anti-cop. I'm anti-bad cop. Okay? I'm anti-bad policing. I'm anti... Yeah. Okay? I think we get what I'm getting at. Okay, so this article is actually February 3rd. So this isn't new necessarily, but there's a lot more people hearing about talking about it now, so I'm just going to hop on here and talk about it, okay? So the video that I saw, I'm going to just bring up I'm just going to pull this up so you can see it, was cops, breaching a door, and then there was a guy on the couch with a blanket, and he shot at the cops. I think he injured one cop. I think one cop got shot twice. Oh, oops, I needed to take off Simchek's thing here. He's not our guest today. He is not our guest today. Boom, there we go. I don't want to get people confused. Okay, so if you can see, I have the article pulled up here. And a guy on the couch with a gun under a blanket shot the cops, injured one, and the cop shot back at him. I assumed that all I saw was literally the video of them breaching. I didn't see any precursor. I didn't see them walking up. I didn't see any of that. And I was assuming that dude on the couch is a bad guy. And I was kind of questioning his tactics while I was on the couch. Fast forward a few days, I heard more about the story, and I understand what happened now. So the video is pretty appalling. I'm not going to show the video. I don't want to get it taken. I don't want to get taken down, but you can probably find the video. I have friends who have access to pretty raw footage such as this, so I got it like the day it happened. However, his name is Murray Locke. He was 22, fatally shot as the police carried out a search warrant. He was lying under the blanket until officer kicked the couch, revealing a gun. Body camera video shows. So what happened is I'm assuming his name is pronounced Amir. Hey, Simcheck coming in on Twitch. Yeah, I left your name up on accident. My fault. So what happened with this is, at first I thought that maybe this dude was just trying to sneak attack the cops, right? Fast forward a few days, I'm learning what actually happened was the police were executing a no-knock search warrant, or a no-knock raid, essentially. So what this article specifically, if you want to know, is the New York Times. It's titled "Minneapolis Suspends No-Knock Warrants After Police Killing." Yeah, we should, as Americans, get rid of this altogether. But what happened was the cops were doing a no-knock warrant, or no-knock search, no-knock raid, and they entered in, and this guy, Amir, was on the couch, presumably sleeping, and he was innocent. He's not on the warrant. He doesn't even live, I believe he doesn't even live at this house. Cops come in, and he hears somebody breaking in. If I was on the couch, and I carry, so I have a gun within 1 arm's distance of me. Most of the time, I don't have one right next to me at this very moment. Which, now that I think about it, I probably should. because I live alone. But anyways, my first instinct would be to shoot them. Because if somebody's breaking into my house, I assume they're going to do me bodily harm, and that is grounds for self-defense. The media is covering this pretty weird. I don't know why they're choosing to, I think it's maybe the pushed by Minneapolis news stations trying to cover their ass a little bit. However, this is just a prime example. I have talked about bad policing on this show several times. Okay? I'm not anti-cop, just to be clear. I'm anti-bad cop. I'm anti-bad policing. And I'm going to talk about the tactics of this. And I'm going to explain to you why they do no-knock. Or a reason, not the reason, why they do no-knocks is so that way they can catch the people by surprise. And hopefully they don't get to, their suspects don't get to fortify themselves in a building. And it makes it easier for them to come in and seize and it doesn't give them a chance to escape. And I get that. However, you're not in the military. This is America. You're doing a raid on a fellow American. Okay? And I've seen so many clips, I've seen so many videos of police it seems like going out of their way to not going out of their way to keep civilians out of harm. There's one I meant to pull up, I forgot, I went live too quick, of an example of I think it was last year, maybe 2 years ago, somebody stole a box truck or UPS truck, and they were armed and they were on a highway. They got stopped on the highway, and the cops, 30 cops for one or two guys in this truck were mounted up, stacked up behind other civilians' cars, using civilians' cars as cover in order to maneuver on to the UPS truck. I think it was a UPS truck. Okay. Here's a reason why that's bad. One, if the suspects do decide to shoot at you, they're going to shoot at civilians because you're using them as cover. Okay. At least try to get the civilians out of the way. Or don't hide behind a civilian, literally using them as body shields. Two, do you really need 30 cops for two dudes? You probably don't. Okay. I don't get these tactics, okay? And I've got out of my way to make comments about this because it's something I don't agree with. And it's one reason why I don't become a cop is because I don't agree with these policing tactics, and I know that I will fight the system and then I will just get burned for it. Okay? So people ask me all the time why I don't become a cop because they think I'd be a good cop. You're right. I would want to be a good cop, but I would not. And people don't listen. I'm a military veteran, okay? So I do have some tactical training. I do have experience dealing with bullshittery when it comes to hierarchy of a chain of command, okay? So I understand. And these cops are just doing what they're trained. They're doing what they're told. And so I'm not necessarily going to say it's on them, specifically the guy behind the gun in this instance. But let's use some common sense. We got to change the way policing happens. I am for having SWAT teams. I am for having armed police because it's something that's needed. We need to change tactics, okay? So we need first off get rid of no-knock raids and no-knock warrants. Well, John, we could put cops in harm's way because they could fortify and things like that. Tough. That is your duty is to serve and protect. You took an oath to serve and protect. I get it. It's a hard job. Maybe you shouldn't be doing it. Okay? Again, I'm not anti-cop, I'm anti-bad cop. It takes a certain set of balls to kick in a door and clear the room. Some people shouldn't be doing it. That's just part of it. It sounds harsh, but in reality, I don't want somebody who's not capable of doing a job correctly in order to actually protect and serve. I don't want them doing the job. I don't. As a citizen, as an American, I don't want to see other Americans get hurt because of our own policing. It's stupid. It's idiotic. It needs to stop. No-knock raids, there's a time and a place for no-knock raids, and it is not in an apartment building going after petty criminals. It is not. Do it for big drug cartels, where you're going to go in guns blazing anyways. Somebody's dropping something in the Facebook comment, and I got to ban them. Hold on. Sorry. I need a moderator. Okay, so continuing on. It's part of the problem of doing the live show is that sometimes people come in and comment ridiculous things. It wasn't anybody saying ridiculous. It was a foreign language that I cannot read. And I think it was spam. So, delete it. Anyways, the concept of a no-knock raid on fellow Americans is idiotic. Because I promise you, 100% promise, if I hear somebody kicking in the door of my house, they are getting shot. I do not care. I won't be hiding behind a blanket, hopefully, like this guy, this poor Amir, who lost his life because of this. But that's just one example of why we need to get rid of. This is a prime example. We talked about, there's been other instances the past few years, but this is the newest and latest story of this happening. Minneapolis suspends no-knock warrants. It's just, we can't have it. We can't. It's too dangerous for cops, for one, and some police would argue that it's more dangerous for cops if they knock, meaning give a heads up, hey, we're the police, we're here. We're about to come in because we have a warrant and we suspect something's bad's going on. I don't even know if there was if they even found anything. I'm going to skim through this real quick. This specifically talks about the actual shooting. It doesn't ever say anything about. It's just, it tells what a no-knock warrant. A no-knock warrants allow the police to enter property without first announcing their presence and are primarily used when there is concern that evidence will be destroyed or officers will be put in danger. Okay, tough. Cops know they're going to be put in danger. He was put in danger. That cop was put in danger anyways. He got shot anyways, even though they didn't knock. And it happens. I believe, in my opinion, this goes against I'm bringing up like a bunch of amendment it is, where the military can't use your house to harbor, meaning like the military can't like come into your home and use your home to harbor troops, which they did during the Revolutionary War. To me, that should go part of it. The government has no business going into your house without announcing themselves. I get warrants and like coming to your house without they have their permission from a judge. But this no knock has got to stop. Puts too many people in danger. It's not all that effective, and they're doing it for petty shit. Excuse my language. I apologize for my language. I try not to cuss on here. But it really angers me. The policing in this country is terrible. You sign up to serve and protect, do that. And as a cop, come at me. I really don't care. Because I'm not saying all cops are bad. I'm not saying all cops are doing the wrong things. I'm just saying stuff like this puts a bad rap for all of them. So we need to have better selection processes for police. We need to have better training for police. And we need to have better tactics for police. I was trained in the military to kick down a door. Not literally, but just, okay, yes, we were trained to kick down doors and clear a room and that kind of thing, but that was not to do on another American. That was to do in foreign countries. And I see SWAT doing the same type of procedures, and SWATs are meant for local law enforcement. There's not a place for that, in my opinion, 99% of the time. There's that 1% time that probably maybe one SWAT member and like every generation has to deal with, or one like generation has to deal with every once in a while, where they have to do some really extreme situation where they do need to go in guns blazing, and they do need to do something that you see in the movies or whatever. But again, they should still train for that. However, they need to focus a lot of emphasis on not getting to that point. And not the cop. The cop in the process got shot twice during this. Okay, he's lucky to be alive too. This could have easily been 2 cops dead in a shootout with a civilian. It could have been. Luckily, unfortunately, Amir is dead. Now his parents have to go arrange a funeral because a cop, a fellow American, shot him, while Amir 100% innocent. His name's not on the warrant. And I'm gonna stop talking about this because I'm gonna keep getting heated. I'm gonna keep talking in circles. So I want to move on to my next topic. We've all heard the phrase that the separation of church and state. Okay. Now, what does that mean? I have a couple of definitions pulled up here. Okay. In the 20th century, the Supreme Court applied the Establishment Clause to the states. To the 14th Amendment, the Establishment Clause separates church from state, but not religion from politics or public life. Individual citizens are free to bring their religious convictions into the public area. Okay, here's another little tidbit about it. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. The two main parts known as the Establishment Clause or Free Exercise Clause, respectively, from textual basis and regarding interpretations. Okay, so I'm going to talk about this a little bit. First off, as an American, as someone who's very pro-America, who's very pro-freedom, I'm a Christian and an American. I do not want my politicians to have the power to enforce their religious ideas or religious belief on me. Well, you might feel, well, John, aren't you a Christian? Wouldn't you love if there was somebody Christian in office? Absolutely, I would, because they would have the similar moral convictions that I do. However, part of the problem, the part that I don't want, is for them to be able to force certain ideals on citizens. Now, why do I want that? Because here's the thing. If you give somebody in office the power to enforce religion, push down policies based on the religious belief, that means the next person also has that power. And the next person, and I try to explain this to people, but some people just don't seem to get it. The next person who has that power can do the same thing. What does that mean? That means that if there might be a Christian in your local office, in public office, in federal office, Congress, president, governor, mayor, whatever, state legislature, that has the power, who is a Christian, who has the power to influence or push down policy based on Christianity. However, the next person who comes in could possibly not have the same religious views as me. And I think our founding fathers, knew that this was an issue, or foresaw that this could be an issue, because they were very specific, and amongst other things, about making sure that the government has zero power to enforce religious beliefs or religious practices or restrict religious practices. However, now they have the power. You might be thinking, I've never been forced to go to a church or do this or do that. Correct. You're right. But you have been forced to keep quiet about it. Our churches were closed during COVID. Okay? See, it's a slippery slope. The Christian flag is not allowed to be flown on government property. However, they show the LGBTQ flag. That is a sign of oppression. I think if you're not going to be able to show the Christian flag on government property, you shouldn't be able to show any other flag than the United States of America flag, the red, white, and blue, or your state flag. I think those should be the only flags allowed on public property. On government property. If you're going to restrict religious flags, make it because LGBTQ isn't a religion. Okay, LGBTQ is a culture, it's an ideal, it's a community. And I see what they're trying to do. And as an American, I want them to have the ability to have that community. I want them to be able to assemble. I want them to be able to have free speech. But don't overlap the power of a community over my religion. Okay? So here's the thing, is I do not want the government to have the power to enforce religious ideals. However, I'm going to speak to Christians. If you're not a Christian, feel free to end the episode or fast forward until we're not talking about this. But I'm going to talk to Christians. Specifically, I'm going to talk to church leaders, pastors, for the next few moments. What are you doing? I'll pause for a second, because I kind of having trouble mentally segueing to the next thing because I could just rant about this as well. I've talked on the show about how much local government is involved with your life. Federal and local, but mostly local, right? Now, one thing I've noticed about church lately is they're not addressing political issues. At least the churches that I have attended or that I go. They might talk and say that it's bad. They might say, our church is they don't like come out and just say that they're against certain things. They don't come out and talk about specific policies. They don't talk about specific political leanings. And I get it. You don't want to upset some people in the crowd. But at the end of the day, the church needs to get involved and representative as a citizen. I don't mean, and this is what I mean. I don't mean, okay, so the church needs to get involved with politics. What do I mean? I mean, go to board meetings, go to forums, go vote. Explain to your congregation the importance of voting for which side. I'm not seeing it. And you might be thinking, John, you just talked about the separation of church and state. Correct. The difference is that I don't want somebody in government office to have the power. The power should belong to the citizens. Church, we're all citizens. As a congregation, we're citizens. Pastors are citizens. However, if you're in the pulpit, you have the power and the influence, and you have the stage, literally and figuratively, to speak into people's lives. And it is your duty, it should be your duty, to accurately explain where you stand as a church as far as certain political leanings. And maybe when it comes down time to vote, you need to express that it's important that they vote to keep your Christian values. Because if you don't get your church to vote, you're going to lose your political stance. You're going to get the government you deserve. Every country, every citizen has the government they deserve. You don't get involved, you don't vote, things don't go your way. I believe it's my firm belief that the church needs to understand that although they shouldn't be in charge of politics, that they need to be involved with politics. Huge difference. They need to influence, they need to explain what is bad, what is going on that is bad and anti-Christian or anti-whatever. And they need to do this with love too, okay? This isn't like the court passed gay, now gays can get married and we hate gays. No, that's not it at all. That's not what I'm saying. The church is meant to accept people with open arms and love. If they're gay, if they're straight, if they're sober, not sober, if they just got out of prison. The church is meant for people, like the physical walls of the church is meant for everybody to go. Despite past, despite sins, despite circumstances. None of us are perfect and we all fall short of the glory of God. Okay? All of us. If you're listening to this, that includes you. If you're a Christian, you're listening to this, that includes you. Okay? If you're a Christian, you're listening to this, you have fallen short of the glory of God, as have I. We are no different. We are not better than people who don't go to church. People who have never cracked open their Bible. We're not better. God loves us the same as they love them, as he loves them. Now, I am trying to delete this comment. It is not letting me delete it. I realize it is covering up my page. Okay. The church and church leaders need to do a better job of informing, not persuading, informing what is going on in government, in politics, in order to better educate, in order to better inform their congregation of what is just going on. Why is that important? There's a lot of people that have no idea some things that are going on. They have no idea the big picture. They have no idea of their broad perspective. They see finite things. Here's an example. In China, there is a lot of human rights violations that are going on, or anti-human rights going on in China. To the point where if you watch I haven't even watched the Winter Olympics. I'm not saying I'm boycotting. I'm not interested. Because it's so much bad stuff going on. I want it to be the worst viewed Olympics ever. Just what's going on in China right now is just bad. And I think our church needs to at least address it. I mean, our church as in like the church of the Christian people, like church leaders in church, pastors, leaders, etc., need to address it. They need to pray against it as a congregation. We need to understand that what is happening in China, what has already happened in China, is slowly creeping into America. And there's just not a lick of people in church like, oh, I just don't pay attention to politics. You need to, because you will get the government you deserve. I hear people in church all the time. Oh, well, like, I don't watch the news. I'm not saying watch the news. I don't watch the news. There's other ways to get information. You need to be aware, because you will get the government you deserve. And I think most Christians congregate once a week, and that's the most community that they get. The whole point of church is for community. And there needs to be, I'm not saying all you talk about is politics at church. What I am saying is you need to come against what, as a Christian, you should be against. And say, what can we do? We can vote. We can protest. We can organize food drives. We can organize, for the protests going on in Canada, we can organize resource trains. We can organize people going out and giving them fuel, because now the police is kind of, what is it called? Seizing the fuel. And that's just I'm using the Canadian thing as an example. If you decide that maybe watching the Winter Olympics, here's my thing with boycotting Olympics is this. One, I think athletic superiority as a country, like when America wins the Olympics, it's a bit of a flex. And I think it brings moral support to a country. It can unify a country. I think sports is, I've talked about on the show, super important for community, for bonding, for even child development, etc., etc. But so I'm not for boycotting Olympics necessarily, because I think we need to support the American athletes that are there. I just haven't watched the Winter Olympics because I haven't been interested. I would probably watch, like, what's the coolest thing to me is the downhill skiing, the snowboarding half pipe, and for whatever reason, everybody watches curling, and we're all addicted to watching curling every 4 years. We all watch curling every 4 years. Once out of every 4 years. I don't know why. It's just something we all do. I don't care about people jumping from skis really far. It's just not that exciting to me. Obviously, I'm not going to watch figure skating. If that's your cup of tea, go for it. I would root for America in it once we get into these like gold medal, rounds or whatever, just to root for America. But it's just not my cup of tea. All right. So I'm not for boycotting Olympics, because I think we should support the American athletes. However, we should openly talk about the travesties that are happening in places like China. What's crazy is a whole country, like in 2018, a whole country fell. A whole country. A government turned on its own civilians. It opened fire on their own civilians, killed their own civilians, used hunger as a tool, used starvation as a tool to manipulate its citizens. And I didn't hear about it once in the church. Venezuela. Venezuela was once a thriving country. I think their economy topped out at number 11. It was ranked number 11 in the world as far as total economy about 10 years ago. Nah, it's like 12 or 14 years ago now. Within 10 years, country in ruins. Thanks to socialism. It's true. Look it up. I don't have time to Google it for you right now. It's true. Venezuela is a terrible country to live in right now. People are dying. Their government is corrupt. Their own government killed their own people. Something that I'm very much against, if you couldn't tell by my previous topic on the show. We went from talking about, if you're joining us late, we went from talking about no-knock raids, no-knock warrants to religion. Things we're not supposed to talk about on the internet. Religion. We talked about it. I'm just saying we got to do better. All of us. We have to do better. I need to do better. I need to have more episodes to talk about the negative things that are happening, to inform people maybe, because you're busy. I get it. You're busy. You don't have time to research stuff. But somebody does. Somebody you know does. So when it comes to, I was out with some friends and they're like, John, you're kind of like a conspiracy theorist. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just seeing what's happening and I say it out loud and you think it's crazy until it happens in your own country. I was saying stuff that was going to happen in America for a long time, and here we are. Warfare coming in on YouTube, no-knock raids are boo-boo. They are boo-boo, and we talked about that for quite a bit. My friends were like, well, I'm like, you guys need to get more involved with, voting and taking stands, not giving up your rights. And my friends will be like, well, there's 1 million of people like you. Correct. There might be 1 million of people like me. But there's 330 million Americans and 8 billion people in the world. We need more than 1 million people. And I can't even trust you guys. Like if I were to say, hey, go vote on this, you guys won't. I told them that to my friends. I'm labeled as a conspiracy theorist. But in reality, I'm just repeating what I'm seeing, what's happening in other countries. Social credit systems, violations of rights. And yet I'm the crazy one. And I've warned my friends, and you're going to hear on the show, I'm warning you now. I do not want to have to say I told you so. However, you will get the government you deserve. Happened in Venezuela, happened in China, happened in the UK. Look at Australia right now. Australia gave up their guns in the 90s, have no way to defend themselves. They're literally been put in concentration camps over a virus that doesn't kill people that much. A virus has a 99% survival rate. Over the cold, concentration camps. I'm probably going to get banned off Spotify for this, actually, thinking about it, now that I said that. Actually, no, they'll put a disclaimer on this episode. Who am I kidding? I'm already shadow banned. Not enough people are going to listen to this. Who am I kidding? I wish I had the publicity of Joe Rogan. I wish everybody was talking about my show trying to cancel me. You know how much money that would rake in? You know how popular the show would be? Tim Pool said it best. He was like, I will... Never mind. You need to go listen to a few Tim Pool's podcasts. Tim Pool is a very funny individual. He's a gay man. I don't agree with everything he says or does, but he is so funny in his episode. His show on Spotify is so funny. And he's right about a lot of things. And he does it with comedy. I'm not as funny as Tim Pool. I'm not going to try to be Tim Pool. You're a funny, hilarious individual. I would love to sit down and talk to you. Even though we really have nothing in common, I think you're hilarious. If somebody in my show listens and can hook me up with Tim Pool, I'd greatly appreciate it. I could honestly rant about this for hours. I'm going to wrap it up. On the next episode, we'll probably talk more about what's going on with cancel culture and how we can probably fight against it if you'd like. Or I might have a guest on the show who help me talk about it, or I don't know. I don't plan these episodes, like I said. This episode was impromptu, and I'm mad, if I'm being honest. We need to end no-knock raids. Church, you need to get involved in politics. Maybe you could help with the no-knock raids. Keep the separation of church and state, but church, you need to get involved as a citizen, as a representative of citizens. Not as someone who's in charge, but you need to guide your flock. You need to lead your people. You might have a great sermon about revelations in the Bible, but in 20 years, when we're not allowed to read the Bible, it won't mean anything. All right. I don't mean to end on some doom and gloom. I want you guys to have a great day. It is Wednesday, so that means we're about halfway through the week. I want you guys to have a good day, and check this out. Listen, if you like the music that you hear, if you like the beats that I use for the show, go to Streamables on Spotify or Streamables on YouTube Music. It is now on YouTube Music. It is music that is free to use. My buddy makes it. He was the very first guest on the show. My buddy Chase makes an appearance in the show. If you were listening right now, Chase, if you're watching, comment, tag yourself, or just tag Streamables or whatever. It is music that is free to use, okay? It's DMCCA free. It's free to use. It's FREE discount, 5-finger discount, whatever. All you gotta do is click a button and boom, you play the music, and nobody's gonna come at you with some copyright issues. Use it for your YouTube videos, use it for your live streams, live shows, talk shows, podcasts, whatever you want to use music for. Use Streamables. He's got like, I don't know, 1 billion albums now. Not really. He's got like 7 or 8 albums. I don't know. He's got a lot of albums. There's a lot of music, and he wants you to use it. He welcomes you to use it. Okay, make sure you go subscribe to him. Follow his Streamables on Spotify, and go follow, like, or subscribe or whatever on YouTube Music. Yeah, and if you're listening right now, please help me out. I have been told by my board members, I have been told by my friends, I've been told by some consultants, I need to tell you guys this. Okay, you listening? I need you to like, I need you to comment, I need you to subscribe, I need you to do whatever to support the show. There's a link somewhere that you can see on your screen. You can find it. It's an Anchor link. You can go and you can support for 99 cents a month, or you can just hit the like button on whatever you're listening to. Subscribe, rate 5 stars. That's what I meant to tell you. Rate 5 stars. That would help me out a ton. Okay, we're on Apple Music or Apple Podcasts, whatever, Spotify. We're on Anchor. We're on all sorts of things. You can find us on whatever platform you want. Follow us on there. Rate 5 stars. Follow, like, whatever. Yeah, I already said it. All right, guys. Next episode, not as doom and gloom. Maybe I'll make some jokes. Maybe I'll have a guest. Until next time, I'll catch y'all on the flippity flip. Peace. Go Buffs.